Well, good evening, everybody. The Hooves well, before we go into Rosehill today, I'll give you a very quick rundown about Canterbury last night. I did tweet on the way out there and thinking the fence was going to be the place to be last night, and it was, although there were one or two. There was one runner at least came right from last and down the outside, but the fence was the best. There was very light rain all night. The track was dead, and the rail was 3 metres out. And as I say, it rained all night. And the picture in the first race, well, for a start in the first race, there was one of the main pros missing last night, two of them actually, which made it cut the attendance in half, might as well say, because no one else bets, and it was a bit very variation there last night. But anyway, the percentage in the first race was only 101.1, which was about right, and the winner, it sat behind the leader on the fence, and I'm talking about Texan Lad. It sat behind Straturbo, and in a field of 2, 4, 6, in a field of 7, the runner running last on the fence from barrier 1, and it was held up to getting a run slippery moss. It slid through from that barrier, and they were the 3 horses on the rails, and they ran the trifecta. So it was, I suppose, if you wanted to bite the bullet and say, yes, the fence is the place to be, you could have very easily done it the first race, and as it turned out, that was the case. It was well backed to Texan Lad. It went up $6, got to $6.50. It was into $5 at one stage, but it got back out to 6 towards the death, and the others were a bit hard to lay. Lyric went from $3.50 out to $5, and also the opening favourite, Turbo, which did start favourite. It went from $3 out to $3.50, back into $3.30, but started $3.50. And as I say, the fence was the place to be, and that's how it determined the result of this race, getting trapped wide in the run. And I suppose its run wasn't bad. Well, you've got to forgive its run. It was another love child. It drew wide and was wide all the way. The second race, well, look, when I say there was 110.1 on the screen, there was only 102 in the marketplace. And this Avery, I haven't written its name yet. It got trapped 3 wide. They said they were going to ride it closer tonight, You'll Never, which came from a hopeless position that we all know. Its first start at Canterbury, night meeting. It got, unfortunately, they did go forward, but it got trapped in 5th position, 3 wide. It wasn't the place to be, and to stick on and to run 6 was a lot better effort than it looked. And but somehow, you swear blind, I knew it was going to get trapped 3 wide, because it went from $1.70 to $3 back into $2.90. Started $2.90. I suppose if you give the $3, you lay it. I never gave it, so I suppose that's why I did miss it. But I was $2.90 when they jumped, and there wasn't anybody to say $19 to $10. Anyway, it's easy now. There was a runner very well backed in this race that finished up running second. It drew the extreme outside alley, 12 in a field of 12. I'm talking about Pink Snow. Slotted in, got cover midfield, came wide on the turn, and it only failed by about a neck or even a little bit less, and it was extremely well backed, as I say, from $8, 7-1 into $4.80, $4.60 even at the death, and it just failed to get there, as I say. And the reason, I suppose, the winner has won, Hunter Jack, was ridden by Horseman Bowman. It drew an inside alley, and he saved ground, switched around heels, turning for home, and it was able to slide through near the 18 pence, which was the place to be, as I keep on saying, and it got the cash. The favourite, I think if it would have slotted in, it would have won the money. Would have got the cash. Now, race 3, there was only, there was fat, 107.1 on the screen, but there was only 101 in the marketplace. And this, when this little runner, Anave, ridden by Miss R. Murray, found the bunny, it was able to cross from an outside alley, and as I say, go straight to the lead and find the hare. And when they turned for home, they were all scrubbing off along off the bit, trying to keep up with her, and she accelerated very, she showed a great turn of foot, and she went one way and won by 5 lengths. But as I say, even though it was a very good win, of course it is flattered by the way the track was playing. And she only went up $3.50, and bookies reached for her. The captains reached for her, and she got out to $6. Now, I think they might have returned the $6. You couldn't get $6 at the death. It was only $5.50. And I think if the betting would have gone a little bit further, she might have only started $5. At one stage, Sweet Little Lies, who did start favourite at $3.20, it was very labelled at $3. They'd kill you for $3 at one stage. It was in at $2.80, very hard to get. But after that, it got out to $3.30 towards the death, and it was unlayable. And Shizu, it was $5 taken into about $4.80. And as I say, the race, the way it was run after the winner found the bunny, the race was more or less over. Race 4, now this was no good here at all. On the screen it said 98.9, but we only got about 94 in the marketplace. And this Avery, it was extremely hard to lay, had every possible chance. It's not worth, well anyway, it's not much good. And that's Animoso. It went from about $1.80. We'll have your 5 to 4. We said, well, take your 5 to 4. But it was, I think they were only returned at $2.10. It was $2.25. It was 5 to 4 against when they jumped, and you couldn't give it away. And here we saw again what I'm talking about, the bias on the track. It was Canterbury Park, not Harold Park, Canterbury Park, or Wentworth Park. It was Canterbury Park all over again. And finding the lead was the winner, Cathay Lady, who was a very good runner. Kemmler last start because it ran into the wind, of course. And he wouldn't, Blake Shin, that bold Blake Shin, what a rider he is. He hasn't he improved since he came back from his recent little holiday. He's got a great style, this boy. It was able to lead and try to cross it, but with Shin keeping say, no, you're not going to find the 18 pence. That's mine. It's 5 lengths better down here. Trying to cross it was Akmal, and it finished up, of course, running third last. It did it a bit tough outside the lead, not being able to cross. And when they turned for home, Shin gave it one across the backside with the shillelagh, and away it scooted. And of course, following it all the way was the favourite, Animoso, but it couldn't get anywhere near it and was beaten 5 lengths. It's a very ordinary conveyance, as I say. There was one runner, well, it ran last. It was trapped 3 wide in the race, Gilded Spur. It was back from $31 into $26 too. And the other very, very well-backed runner, one of the reasons the favourite got out towards the death was Rockefeller Centre. Bookies, well, they knew it couldn't win, and they were quite right. It sat in the 1-1 position behind Akmal, Rockefeller Centre, and it opened up only $4, but bookies reached for it and got to $6.50. But it was poleaxed. There was an absolute fortune for it. It was only $4.60 when they jumped, and it was in between runners, and it dropped out and ran second last. Don't think it's much good either. Now, race 5, there was 106.6 on the screen, only 102 in the marketplace, and Honourable Aussie, well, he jumped out, and he was outside the leader, getting towards the winning post the first time, and then all of a sudden, ridden by that bold Blake Shin, it was able to slot in straight behind the leader, which was Possesco. How did it win last start at Rosehill? Don't know. But anyway, it led Possesco, and coming across, well, sitting on us outside early was Our Smoke and Rock, and it went disgraceful. It ran stone last, got beat a long way. So the horses it beat at Newcastle, they wouldn't win a race around the Three Sisters at Katoomba. Anyway, it sat outside the lead, but then getting into the back straight, still leading was Possesco, and sitting and making a move was the opening favourite, who was extremely hard to lay. It started favourite, and I'm talking about Rosehill. It drew barrier 2, and he was in the 1-1. He was in the 1-1 position on Rosehill on the back of Our Smoke and Rock, but he made a move down the back and went and sat outside the lead. And which was it's all right sitting outside the lead, but the fence was far superior saving ground on the dog track, and it sat outside Possesco, and when they turned for home, it dropped off Our Smoke and Rock, who took its position. It was in the 1-1, and easing off their heels while he was smoking his pipe all the way was Bold Blake Shin on Honourable Aussie, and just eased around their heels turning for home after having that soft run, and was able to nab Rosehill on the line, who had got past Possesco, and who had got past Possesco, and it beat it by about a short head on the line, Honourable Aussie. And I laid some good bets against Honourable Aussie at $21, and as it turned out, it was a very bad result for me. The Sailors fell well. It drew barrier 1, and it sucked up behind them all the way on the fence, and where did it run? It ran third. So again, emphasising how good the fence was. We came to race 6, and there was 104.3 on the screen, 102 in the marketplace, and this was the race where Horseman Bowman was able to come from last. He drew the outside alley, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 7 runners. He drew barrier 7. I'm talking about Tahitian Black, and he went back to last, but there was plenty of pace on up front, which he knew was going to be a fast run race, and that was it only knows one thing, Spectacular I Am. It crossed and led with going very fast. Another speedy horse, Tonk, on its outside, and from barrier 1, or from barrier 2, excuse me, was Nash Rambler sitting third on the fence. Now it ran last, Nash Rambler, but it hasn't got out yet. When it came back, when it was gone on the turn, Spectacular I Am, Nash Rambler went from the turn on, went to the post unextended, so you can forget its run, but by the same token it was on the fence. I'm not saying you'd be on it next start by any means. Anyway, with all the pace up the front, the favourite, Nupsy, who was last on the fence and had to, when there was no passage through on the fence after turning for home, had to try and angle in between runners, and he was held up, lost his momentum, and went through and finished up running 4th. But Horseman Bowman summed up the situation well when the speedy squibs up the front, when they caved in, he hooked around the heels and came widest on the turn and came down the outside and beat Inventive, who's fairly ordinary. It sat in the 1-1 position, and getting a middle split, Lady Ledoux, after easing off the fence, turning for home, it ran third. There wasn't much between them all when they hit the line. There's nothing to follow out of that race. Then we came to the last, and I suppose this horse that pig-rooted or just bucked after they'd gone about 50 metres, and it was extremely well backed. I'm talking about Exceed and Exalt. There's a good chance he would have got the cash. It drew barrier 1, was extremely well back, $6.50 into about $4.40 Exceed and Exalt. The opening favourite, you couldn't give it away, Uarte. It went up evens. Evening money on the field will have your Uarte. It got to you wouldn't have seen it, got to $3.50, and it ran that price. $3.50. It was taken at one stage into $3.30, but it started $3.50, and you couldn't lay it. And going straight to the front here was Persian Storm, and when it pig-rooted, of course, Exceed and Exalt, Bold Blake Shin, he couldn't hold on, and he fell, and I think he rode today, but didn't he, or wherever he went, he was all right. And then Exceed and Exalt, of course, it took off, went in between runners and went outside the lead, and when they hit the bend going out of the back straight where it had got outside the leader, it caused some interference to Persian Storm, and also the winner by the same token, Uarte. And while this was happening, of course, sitting second was Dream Choice, and it was extremely well back, ridden by the pumper Joe Cassidy. It was $10 into $6.50. They put an absolute pole, they put a fortune on it. Everything in this race was backed except because of the favourite. It just got out the market and you couldn't lay it. was a good result for the captains. This they left it with us. Said you can have, you captains, you can have your Arte, and we said thank you very much. Anyway, Jimmy on Dream Choice, he'd got it when the interference was caused to Persian Storm. He was a bit wide on the track. He went around, stayed in that position to the turn, but the quick thinking Jenny Duggan, she avoided the she copped a little bit of a prat, but she avoided the interference, most of it anyway, and she wore down the leader, wore down Jimmy to going on the inside of him near the post to beat him by a neck, and making up a lot of ground. Was a lot 70 from back. Well, it sat in 4th position. It was a very funny run race. There was one runner, Shanghai Bundy. It was very well backed, Shanghai Bun. It was $9.50 into $7.50, and it came out hopelessly about 5 lengths behind them. That was the meeting. As I say, the fence was the place to be. It was the old Canterbury Park we all know. So when you're doing the form, you allow a little bit for all the things that won on the fence. You penalise them a bit. Not horses who are off the fence, if they were wide in the run, you give them an extra bit of a tick. Now we came to Rosehill. Now wasn't this a fantastic day here at Rosehill today? It was 3-wheelers day out. The 3-wheelers were all at Rosehill. The Twist and Twirls day out at Rosehill. There'll be a lot of bootmakers in Sydney tomorrow. Be fixing all the heels are broken. Of course, they'll be in business again, the bootmakers, tomorrow, because the girls were hobbling out after the last, and they'll have to go to the bootmakers to get their heels fixed. Anyway, today the track was dead, and the rail was in the normal position, and the wind was out of the southeast, and it turned around to be more or less an easterly as the day went on. Didn't turn to the nor'easter to affect the leaders turning for home, but they didn't have to, because the 18 fence, the fence at Rosehill today, was no good. If you went through if you were near the fence, you were you had to be very well. You couldn't win there. Let's put it that way. The first race, well, on the screen there was 99.4, but in the marketplace a little bit less, 97. And this opening favourite, Charlie Boy, it went up $1.70, and it kept on getting out. It $1.70, $1.80, no, when I say kept on getting out, at one stage you could have laid it for whatever you wanted at $1.85. $1.85 they would have killed you for at one stage. But then at the Fed Death, believe it or not, you can have 5 to 4. It was $2.25. They started 5 to 4 each of 2. The other one, of course, I'm talking about is Windjammer, and it went up 10. It went up to $2.10. We put them up. We put them up nice and tight. These pair. It went up $2.10, but it got to $2.60. But it only started $2.25. Equal favourite. These were the flux. Number one, all the talk went from $11 out to $20. As I said, Charlie Boy was $1.70. $1.85 laid on at one stage. It started $2.25. The next runner was $41 taken, Northern Spur. Started about $17 only. The next runner, Senior Council, was 50 to 100. $2.10 to $2.60, back to $2.25. Windjammer. And Artistic Lass, it was $12 out to $20, but it only started around about, I think I've made it blue here. I think it started a lot shorter. I'm correct. It started about $26 Northern Spur, and Artistic Lass started about $17. There's only about 97% given here, and taken straight to the lead was Windjammer, and that might have, even though Nash was off the fence turning for home, as I say, it was hard to lead. We'll go through it now, but there were no leaders that won. I'm pretty sure no leaders won, and also, as I say, the fence, not like Canterbury Park last night. The fence was not the place at Rosehill, and Charlie Boy, after copping a prat at the start, along with a couple of others, It's only a field of 6. He was in the 1-1 position, and it looked all over at the furlong when Nash was about a length and a half clear on Windjammer, but he got a little bit tired, and Charlie Boy was able to beat him by about a half a length on the line. Getting to the outside, I think, was the difference there in winning and losing. Then we came to, now Man's a Nice Goose here. Fancy, I haven't laid all Dragon or Bradman. For a start, there was 103 on the screen, but only 100 neat in the marketplace, and these were the flux. Al Dragon went from evens out to $2.50, back into $2.40. Bradman went from $4.40 out, or $4 actually, out to $5.50. Hard to get at the finish. The next runner, Mannerwood, went from 15 to 17. Sacred Star, very well backed. I had a very bad result on this. The pumper rode it. What a good rider the pumper is. They don't know he's on his back. They don't know he is on their back. He rides so light. It went from $5 to $6.50 given, back into $5.50, even $5 at the death. The next runner, Magloquent, it went from $15 or $16 out to $21. Shea Harmony, $10 was given, and he started 9. And Pop Street, I made a mistake. I did bet $30 or something. We won't count that. $21 into about 17. And in going straight to the lead was Bradman from Barrier 1. And who was behind it in Barrier 2? All Dragon. Both of them are going for spells now. Bradman said, the rider said that he felt like a tired horse. He's going to the paddock. He lost a plate in the run as well. And of course, on the fence right behind him, not the place to be. And Nash said that it hung out under pressure all the way down the straight and pulled a bit on him early. It was, it's going for a spell, Al Dragon, but it was on the 18 pence and close to it. Not the place to be. You couldn't win there. And Jimmy was able to, when the second horse, Magloquent, when it moved up to him, it looked like it might get past him, but the pumper, he's hard to get past, and he beat it by about 0.4 of a length. He was off the fence all the way. Coming from last down the outside in the best section of the ground was Pop Street. Now, race 3. Now this was a doozy. This one here. Well, there was 94.7, unfortunately for you robots. 94.7 on the screen. Terrible sorry about that. We couldn't do anything about it. But what if we don't turn up one day? What are you going to do? What are you going to put up? Suppose you put them up evens each of every runner. That's if it's evens on the field. Anyway, in the marketplace there was only 89% given. Now this is how they started. These were how they started when they jumped. $4.20 the winner, Catkins. $1.90 Hard to Get Sessions. $8.50 Furious Jet. $11 Swift Succession, and Laughing at $17. Now, Catkins went from $3.30 to $4.20. The favourite, Sessions, who led on the fence, and they're going to bring it back in distance. They said they were going to try and race with cover today, but that was never going to happen. And unfortunately, it found the 18 pence. It was on the fence, Sessions, not the place to be. It was quicksand in there. It went up. We'll have you 5-2. You can lay us 5-2 on, we said, Sessions. But at the finish, evens on the field. And at one stage it was evens there, no takers. I think, funny thing, 10-9 on was laid on at one section, but then got to evens, and it was taken at the death. Why wouldn't it be taken? There was only 89% there, but it still started the 10-9 on. Now the next runner, Furious Jet, $13 given, only started $8.50. The next runner, Swift Succession, 21, well I won't say it, but 21, I thought I saw 20, $21 given, only started 11. And of course, Laughing, it was 31 into 17. Not worth a drink of water. And Catkins, who was on the fence behind the leader from Barrier 1, when they turned for home, he stayed hard up against it on Sessions, proper Peter Roble, and the runner on the outside of the favourite, Laughing, it hung with, under a little bit of pressure, and going straight through the high diddle of them was the winner, Catkins, and it went away and won by 3 lengths. Need I say any more? Race 2, that was race 3. Now we get to race 4, and there was, this was another good race. Another good race. Now, anyone looking at this, what I'm talking about here, you've got to make sure you don't tell anybody about the bookies giving money away at the races, because we don't want too many people to turn up, and because we'll run out shortly. We can't keep on giving everybody at the track all of our cash and going home with none. So keep it to yourselves, and don't tell all the people who bet the TAB whatever you do, because they might come to the track and we might have to give them some cash as ready. And we're running out of readies very quickly, because in this race we bet 96.2. It was on the screen. Sorry about that, robots, but in the marketplace there was 3 less. We bet 93. This is what we gave, extra 0. Well, there was $9 given about it. Scouting wide, $8. The favourite, Moriarty, it didn't have a price. It went from 5 to 4 to 9 to 4, $2.25 to $3.30. Presido, it was well backed from $9 into it's about $6.50. Fromless, it was 41 into 31. Worldwide was $10 into $9. T for 2 was $10 into $8.50. And the bottom one, Levi's Choice, $17 taken into about 15. Oh, isn't it grand? And well, when it went straight to the front, extra 0, where did it run? It dead heated for last, beaten 8.5 lengths, not the place to be. But on the fence behind it, I must admit, was the winner, Levi's Choice. And it had extra 0 had barrier 2. Levi's Choice had current bun. It had the inside alley. But when they turned for home, he was able to get off the fence, and he finished about 4 off. And I must admit, at one stage, Moriarty, who sat and was perfectly ridden by Catwalk Corey Brown, it was in the 1-1 position, coasting all of the way. And when it moved up on the turn and was able to get past Scouting Wide, who was sitting outside the leader, and it actually, they both of those dead heated for last. It cruised to the lead, Moriarty, and looked all over, but getting up inside it. But as I say, 3 or 4 off the fence was Levi's Choice, and beat it by 1.8 lengths on the line. Moriarty, very disappointing. Presido, it was well backed, but it travelled for the first, say, 5 furlongs, 3 wide, and was made a bit of use. But then he had to drop back into second last position with a bit of a check on the turn. But it was disappointing in the run home. But a little bit of petrol was used early. Race 5, there was 103.6 on the screen. Oh no, don't tell anyone we're giving money away. Please, don't tell the tab punters. They'll come out and take our cash. We only gave 95% in this race. And Titbit, it ran, where did it run? It ran 3rd. Gee whiz, that would have been a good result for me. Titbit, and it came, unfortunately, it drew an inside alley, and it was ridden by the pumper, and he was close against the fence all the way. It ran 3rd, and he beat, the margins were 0.1 by 0.2 by 0.3. The 4th horse was only 0.3 of a length away from the winner. The winner, of course, was off the fence. But anyway, Titbit, now I'll tell you the flux in this race. Titbit went from 13 to, I was 19 when they jumped. Couldn't write its name. $26 taken about Lucky Song, but it was taken but still started that price. Praise B was 40 to 50 back into 40. Secluded, Jerry, the inside was no good by this time. I got a poultice out of Secluded. It had barrier 1, and I tell you what, it gave me heart failure. It only got beat by 0.1 of a length, and as I say, it had its chance, but by the same token, got off the fence. Princess Kyla, who led on the fence, fortunately, it finished on the. He got off, but leading was extremely hard to do today. You couldn't even do that. It was $4.60 out to $6.50 back into $5.50 late. Then we had the next runner was 666, $11 to 13 back into 11. Magnolia Lane was well back, 26 into 21. There was $5.50 given about Maydale early, but generally $4.60, but $5.50 given on the fence. I was $4.40 when they jumped. Got a good bit of section out of it. And the winner, Crow's Pattern, $7.50 given on the fence on quite a few boards, started $7, a bit hard to get, and it got into a lovely trailing position in about 5th position and was able to blouse them on the line. When they hit the line, it beat, as I say, Secluded, who was on the fence but got off after turning for home by 0.1 of a length. The Pumper getting up right along the fence all the way on Titbit, resuming today, 0.2 of a length away in 3rd position, and only 0.3 running 4th was the leader, Princess Kyla. So its run was good, and so was Titbit's. Possibly the best run in the race was Princess Layla, because of leading, even though it finished off the fence. It was a hard thing to do today. Sitting outside the lead, or getting trapped a little bit wide, near the lead was Maydell, and it got the winner finished up getting a nice bit of cover behind it, Maydell. It wasn't beaten far, Maydell, but anyway, more or less had its chance. And race 6, there was 102.7 on the screen, but in the marketplace, there was only 94%. Oh no, it was no good again. Don't tell the tab punters we're giving cash away at the track. Can't afford to do it. Now, this is what we gave. It went up Welcome Goal at $6, got out to 8, back into $7.50. Tromso, well, I gave $5.50. How was it going to win it at barrier 1? It wasn't beaten that far. It went up $4.40 out to $5.50, plenty of it given. Started $5. Stratana, well backed, $6 out to 8, back into $7 from say. The Clintock, $3.50 out to $4.40, or even $4.60, back into $4.20. Shadows in the Sun failed by a very small margin, maybe only a short half head. Shadows in the Sun. This was back for an absolute bucketful. It was $20, $26 given by, mind you, and it only started $11. 10 to 1 was 25s to 10s. It settled that. They jerried, whoever put the money on this, they jerried. It was a Blouses track, and it sat back in last position, resuming today, and right down the outside with the 2 kilo boy A. Allen board, Anthony Cummings. It's a deadly stable when they bet, and it failed by a very short margin. Bit stiff not to get the cash there, boys. The next 3 were scratched. Home on a Wing, it went from 60 to 100. Now the next winner, runner and winner, Ollie Volley, it drew. There are 8 runners. Where to draw? Barrier 8. And it went back to last, and she caused a little bit of interference. Got a holiday out of this ride, I think, Jenny Duggan. It was one of the first runners back. They only went up $10, but it was taken, and it was hard to get $9 at one stage. It was into $8.50 more or less, 9 hard to get. Not that it ever went off. I think I was $11 when they jumped, and it sailed. It was running second last, and as I say, and coming off its heels and coming down the outside was Shadows in the Sun, but just failed to catch it. And running third was the bottom weight Irish Jig, who was in between runners, getting trapped 3 wide in this race all the way. Suppose if you got trapped 3 wide with cover, it was not the place to be. It was the place to be was off the fence, getting a nice suck up, not on a limb wide, facing the breeze, and then getting off heels, turning for home. Well, it's easy, isn't it? It's not rocket science, this business. It's easy to work out. Some people think that they're geniuses when they tip things that come down the outside. It's a lot easier than you think when you get bias on a track like this, and it makes a lot of people look like as if they know what they're talking about. But of course, it's you can teach a chimpanzee to find winners a lot of times when the track is biased like it was today. Anyway, Ollie Volley, it came down the outside, as I say, and got the cash. The Clintock, unfortunately, it's going for a spell today. Forget all about its run. It led on the fence. And of course, as I said before, Tromso, who drew barrier 1, it was directly behind it. And that was against its chances. Then we come to race 7. Oh, well, I suppose it was all right for you robots, 105.3 on the screen, but we had to put up with 97% in the marketplace, and it was only returned $4.20 Vel Rosso. I got plenty out of it at $3.70. I'm embarrassed to say I might be one of the reasons there was only 97% on the board. I was $5, and and I got, I did lay it, as I say, at $3.70, $3.80, $3.90, $4. This time I laid it in reverse, not coming in but going out. $4, $4.20, $4.40, $4.60, $4.80, and $5. I was $5 when they jumped. It was taken, but then I went back $5, and I'm glad it didn't get the cash. Unfortunately for you punters who backed it, it should have won. It should have won, but unfortunately it had barrier 1, and the pumper, when he turned for home, he eased off heels, and if he would have got the split when the split he was going for, which closed on him, he would have burst through, and I have no doubt would have got the chocolates. But thankfully he was squeezed up in between runners and lost all of his momentum, and he finished up running third, and he was beaten I'd say around about under a length or under. In this race, leading was Rockdale, who came across from an outside alley. It ran second last, not the place to be, leading on the fence. And sitting looking at it was the winner, unfortunately, for me, Bay Window. I had a terrible result on this. I bet $9. I didn't want to miss it. It only started $7. And when they turned for home, Bay Window was able to get, was always off the fence looking at the leader, and was able to get clear and hold on and beat who was coming from down the outside in the right place to be, the right section of the track, was Mr. Edison. Drew barrier 12, came in 1, 2, 3, had barrier 9 in a field of 10, and it was eased out to last, ridden by Killer Cat. And she, I wish she would have got there, Killer Cat. She came right down the outside, as I say, but his run was flattered by the way the track was playing, and she failed to catch Bay Window by about a long neck. And running third was Vel Rosso, and sailing down the outside in the right section of the track, the bias in its favour was Al's Gold. The runners that were near the fence there, as I say, the leader was, and that was Rockdale, who else was near the fence. I can't understand it. This was sensationally backed. It would have been all right for me if it would have won. Talking about censor, it settled down. Well, I didn't think it'd be that far back. I thought it might have been midfield, but it settled down in last position. And I think someone forgot to tell Tommy Terrific Berry if Gay, I own the lead, Gay would have been there. She would have, and it was her runner, she would have told Tommy Terrific. She would have said, now look, Tommy, I'm telling you now, the 18 pence is no good. Now when you jump here, I want you to be off the fence and come down the outside, because that's where all the winners are coming. But no one must have told Tommy Terrific. And Tommy Terrific, he cut the corner and stayed hard up against the fence. He said, my horse was finding the line very well towards the finish. Can't understand why it went so badly. Well, as I say, Tommy, you mustn't have jerried. As I say, you might have got it mixed up. The outside fence was all right. The inside was no good. You might have got it mixed up. You might have thought the inside was the best and the outside was a lot worse, but it wasn't, being very facetious. It's easy sitting in the grandstand, riders in the stand. It's very easy from where we sit here. These riders are very, very good drivers of cars as well. Anyway, as I say, but with any luck in that race, Vel Rosso would have got the cash. Then we came to the last. And on the screen it said 104.8, and in the marketplace, what do we say? A neat 100. Yeah, we'll toss you, but we've got to pay the Toyota Lexuses. But there was only 100 on the board. This is what they were. Now, it started, they returned $4.80, King's Dominion. I was $5.50 when they jumped. It was $7.50 out to $8 into, believe it or not, $4.80 at one stage. Poleaxe by one of the pros, put an absolute squillion on it. It was into $4.80. I was $5.50 when they jumped. The next run at Queenian, it was extremely well back, $9 into $6.50 at one stage. Might have outstarted $7. Now the winner, Bledisloe, I laid 5,200 just as they jumped. $26 Bledisloe into $21. The next runner, Geridian, it didn't have a price. It went from $16 to $30 or even $41. Browned out, owned by my beautiful daughter. It was very hard to lay. I wish it would have won. It came down the outside after settling in second last position in the right section of the track. So it had everything in its favour, unfortunately. So it went from $6.50 out to $8.50. The next runner was a bit hard to lay, Deceiver. It was squashed in between runners, held up slightly. Even if it would have got the run, it wouldn't have won. But it went from $4 out to $6. The next runner, Aberrant, didn't have a name. It was 21 out to 31. The next pair was scratched. Quick Peak, it was 13 to 15, taken into 14. Skiptown didn't have a price. Skiptown, $6.50 to $11, didn't have a price. Green Tracer, $26 taken into 21. The next runner, Disciple, should have definitely won, should have got the cash. Disciple, it was in a good position off the fence, but unfortunately, when the winner, who was behind him, when it swooped up and being trapped very wide in the run, was the top weight King's Dominion from barrier, or whatever barrier it had, was extremely wide. It was 4 wide all the way, ridden by Jenny Duggan. The Disciple, it couldn't apparently. I haven't had a real good look, but I know what would have happened. He wouldn't have been able to get to the outside and had to switch to the inside. And before he switched to the inside, he lost all of his momentum. He was held up to the until the 100-metre mark, and then switched back to the inside. When I say the inside, not close to the fence, but switched inside runners and found the line very well, and only failed by about a long neck or half a length at the most. It should have won, whereas the winner. Anyway, we'll go back to the prices. And Disciple, it was $10 out to $13, back into 11. And our Avalanche was 41 to 51 to 41. Fireball, which I got plenty out of, had an inside alley, and it went from 16 to 9 to $18. The next one was scratched, and Paramount Pete, it came from third last position, Paramount Pete, right down the outside, which was the best part of the track, and it ran third. And it would have been a great result for the captains. It was 51 out to 71. No one knew it was in the race. Now, the winner, as I say, it sat past midfield, ridden by that perfectly balanced Rodney Quinn, and he just eased off heels, turning for home. As I say, most probably making the second horse go back inside runners, and he had his momentum up, of course, and was in the best section of the track and was able to hold on and win, second horse being the best run. Now, that was about the meeting. So you can work out for yourself what to do from there. If you were bookieing, if you're a captain cookie, I hope you won. And if you're a grumble and grunter, I also hope you won. And what else can I say? Good luck and good health. Bye.